So Jayson, it's such a great honor to be represented here with the instruments of C.F. Martin at the Metropolitan, the greatest museum in the world.
Yeah, that's right.
So tell me a little bit about your perspective of C.F. and as a person. And
yeah, well, I was thrilled when I got to know this research that was happening about what he was doing to get to the early American guitar, and kind of mind really opening when I found out they'd pieced together this history. But what it really underscored for me was the artistry of C.F. Martin, his innovation, his thought processes as a craftsman, as an artist. Of course, we would not have a company today, which everyone knows Martin by, if he himself had not been that person setting the standards, creating the models, building beautiful guitars.
Great story about the, maybe mythology, but a button shop that imported buttons from the Near East with mother of pearl and abalone, and that C.F. probably went next door, got the buttons, cut them in half, and created the unusual ornamentation that we see on some of the very, very early presentation models that Martin made.
Yeah, that's the story. There was a button shop right next door, right down the street. Yeah, amazing.
Before the holes got drilled.
Before the holes got drilled.
You know, the early Martin Guitar Summit was a group of Martin experts that got together about, I think almost 5 years ago now, to just discuss these guitars, because very little was really known about the chronology. Right. And pretty quickly, after 2 meetings and gathering a tremendous number of instruments, unprecedented really, the chronology started to make itself evident, and some of the innovations and evolution made itself apparent, and this was really fascinating. Peter Zago really was the spearhead of this effort. Yes. And a number of people wrote essays for the book, which really delineated the German influence, the Cadiz, the different elements of that evolution. And this is so important to the archives of Martin. The Martin family saved everything, all of the journals, a couple little pieces missing, but it really tells an incredible story of how business was done in America. Yeah.
And this story, that summit, this book that came from it, is perfect for a museum exhibit, because it really is based completely on what do we think happened by looking at the guitars. Because that's really what started the whole process of the book and the exhibit, and that's why I love it. It's about the objects first, about the guitars. What can we learn from them?
And the guitars are strung with gut, and you tune them up, and they sound magnificent. They were clearly, the finest instruments of the day. We still strive for that. It would be criminal to not discuss the guitar that's between us here.
I wanted one piece. So this exhibit is about C.F. Martin, the original C.F. Martin, but one of his legacies is not just creating this, but it is the company. And so I wanted a piece like this.
All of the ingredients of the modern guitar really solidified in the 1850s and the 1860s, except for the change in size, which I suppose was to compete with the banjo. We call it the banjo conspiracy. But the guitars grew in size as 12-fret instruments, and in 1930 were given a couple of extra frets access with a 14-fret neck. And in 1939, this guitar was made. Eric Clapton found it and fell in love with it. It's a short scale instrument, which means the strings are stretched a little looser and more bendable and expressive for blues playing. And this instrument was really came to its full fruition on MTV Unplugged in 1992.
Changed music history.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess before that time, electric guitars were prominent on stage, and acoustic guitars were relegated to little folk clubs. But Clapton changed that, repopularized the Triplo model. Now one of our most popular models, the Dreadnought, of course, reigns the roost, but the Triplo is balanced, clear, expressive, perfect for solo instrumentation. So really special to have this guitar.
Oh, amazing, and we're so lucky to have it. But even when you talk about the triple O's and the modern guitars, and you talk about the growing bodies, it still all is based in the work of C.F. Martin, who started the model designations that continue to this day.
Were you talking about how that happened? Because in the logbooks, it was kind of like a spreadsheet where Martin started to get repeat orders for certain styles of guitars. The simply appointed guitars were $16. There was a $17 model. There was a $20 and a $21 model. And with the repeat orders, instead of writing all the specifications into the logbook every time, they started to abbreviate the size and the price. Mm-hmm. So 3-17, size 3, $17, or 2-30, fancier model for $30 in size 2. So those things started to solidify, and that nomenclature still exists today.
It's amazing. It's an amazing story.
So I really hope that people that haven't seen the exhibit will come to the Met. Of course, this is one exhibit in 17 acres of the greatest exhibits in the world, but it's such an honor for Martin to be recognized, C.F. Martin, to be recognized here and to have this special exhibit.
That's right. So the exhibit runs through December 7th, and if you can't make it to the exhibit, there's always the book, and it's really worth getting.
Thank you.